postseason teams from last year matched up again today. Arizona Diamondbacks baseball brought to you by Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. A division series reunion. It's the D-backs and the Dodgers on Fox Sports Arizona. Good afternoon from Salt River Field to Talking Stick, and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. The D-backs and the Dodgers here today. D-backs offense has been rolling lately, and out front again today, Bob, it's David Peralta.
David Peralta having an unbelievable spring, has worked his way up to the top of the lineup. Looks like he's going to be the everyday leadoff hitter, and he relishes that role, been getting on base a ton, hitting over 500. Really excited to watch David this season.
Diamondbacks still waiting for word on Zach Greinke after their ace had to leave Wednesday's game early. At some point, Bob, you figure they'll need some rotation depth, and the first guy they look to may be our starter today, Matt Cook.
Yeah, I mean, if you had to nitpick with the Diamondbacks, an area of concern might be depth in the starting rotation, but that's what makes this start for Matt Cook today, and every start for all these guys competing for that spot as a possible fill-in for the rotation. They're all very important right now.
He's up against Dodgers prospect Walker Buehler. We are set to go from Scottsdale. D-backs and Dodgers on Fox Sports Arizona. D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Ram Trucks. It's Ram Truck Month. Hurry in for a great deal or visit ramtrucks.com. By Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. By the first ever Innings Festival, a spring training celebration in Tempe, March 23rd through 25th. By your Desert Ford dealers. Visit your Desert Ford dealers and click buyfordnow.com for more. By Taco Bell. Try the new $1 nacho fries here for a limited time. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. Is brought to you by Sanderson Ford. The best play is at Sanderson Ford. By Tire Pros. Everything rotates around you. By Gila River Hotels and Casino. The card by Gila River Casinos earns you rewards 10 times faster than ever before. Sign up for the card today. By White Claw Hard Seltzer, the purest hard seltzer in the world. And by Subaru. Visit your local Subaru retailer to learn about the Subaru Forever. Versatility that inspires. Well, less than 2 weeks to go until opening day. A good tune-up for Matt Cook. The Dodgers are here in Scottsdale, and the first pitch is next on Fox Sports Arizona.
I didn't
Fields at Talking Stick in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona. That cool weather has moved back in here to the valley. It's been windy all week, partly cloudy and 72 today, but no complaints. It's Cactus League baseball. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly along the way. The D-backs and the Dodgers. Opening day creeping up, BB. Less than 2 weeks to go now. Here's the lineup for LA today.
A very representative lineup for Dave Roberts in the LA Dodgers. Chris Taylor will lead it off out in center field. Corey Seager at shortstop, batting second. Justin Turner down at third base. Cody Bellinger over at first. The veteran Matt Kemp in left field. That guy, Yasiel Puig, out in right. Logan Forsythe will be at second base. Austin Barnes doing the catching. And Mr. Farmer is the designated hitter. I didn't write his first name.
Kyle Farmer.
Kyle Farmer. That's what I thought.
Good call. And Walker Buehler will be the pitcher, the rookie for the Dodgers. Your Ram truck starter for the Diamondbacks is Matt Cook. 27-year-old right-hander. He's dealt with injury issues in his 2.5 seasons as a D-back, but this is a guy who throws strikes, has looked good this spring, and may give them some much-needed rotation depth this year.
Yeah, Baseball America selected Matt Cook as the best command in the Diamondbacks organization before last season. I can't help but think back to that start that he had against the Nationals back in 2016. 5 hitless innings. He was outstanding.
Big guy out there, 6'3", 215, 27 years old. Nationwide Vision Centers gives us a look at the Diamondbacks defense.
David Peralta out in left field. A.J. Pollock will be out in center. Steven Souza Jr. in right field. It'll be Jake Lamb and Ketel Marte on the left side of the infield with Christopher Negron playing right next to Paul Goldschmidt. John Ryan Murphy will be doing the catching. Alex Avila will be doing the designated hitter task today, and Matt Cook on the mound.
Our first look at the Dodgers this year. We'll see them 19 times, of course, over the course of the regular season. Jeff Nelson is our plate umpire today. Things have been going very well for Torey Lovullo's Diamondbacks as of late, and that leads nicely into your Valley Honda dealers key to the game.
Yeah, as you just said, 19 matchups between these two teams during the regular season in 2018, so you might as well get comfortable, start taking some notes, file them away for later this season.
Chris Taylor steps into the right-hand batter's box, and we are set to go in Scottsdale. Taylor having a good spring, hitting over 330. He's doubled 6 times. First pitch for Matt Cook is in there for a strike, and it's 0-1. Chris Taylor calling it a breakthrough season last year, maybe underselling it. 288, 21 home runs. He stole 17 bases and became their everyday center fielder down the stretch last year. This is a guy who prior to last year had fewer than 300 major league at-bats and exactly 2 career home runs. But he has quickly become one of the most impactful players in the division. Down the right field line, Steven Souza Jr. gives it a look, but it's out of play. Taylor last year was a tough out for the D-backs. He hit .346 versus Arizona, including 3 home runs. Matt Cook has looked good this spring. 4 appearances, 2 starts. Only 2 earned runs allowed in 8 1/3. He's got John Ryan Murphy behind the plate today. Ground ball to shortstop, Ketel Marte.
I love to watch good infielders and the way their feet move, the way they just glide across the diamond. No herky-jerky movements whatsoever. Their heads stay very still, and Ketel Marte on that play executed perfectly.
Well, speaking of shortstop, this is a big day for the Dodgers. Corey Seager starting at shortstop in a Cactus League game for the first time this spring. He's only 5 for 24 at the plate. D-backs have the shift on, and there's strike 1. Seager this week began playing defense in minor league spring games for the first time after he was put on an extended throwing program because of lingering right elbow trouble, same problem that plagued him toward the end of last year. He was the Dodgers DH at Camelback Ranch in Glendale yesterday and homered off Jason Hamill And LA's lost to Kansas City. That one just missed. It's 2-1.
That's not uncommon for a ball club. I mean, everybody knows what Corey Seager's all about, what he's capable of doing. So why rush it in spring training? Let him come along at his own pace, whatever that may be. We talked about it in previous telecasts. Some guys need upwards to 75, 80 at bats in spring training before they feel like they're ready for the regular season. Other guys, you just give them a uniform and they're ready to start the season.
Well, they were happy he was able to avoid off-season surgery for that elbow sprain last year. And it kind of flared up again this spring.
Kenley Jansen, the fine closer for the Dodgers. I think he just got off the mound for the first time recently. And you look over on the other side of the country in the Grapefruit League. Craig Kimbrell for the Boston Red Sox. Their closer hasn't even been with the team this spring. He's attending to some family issues with the daughter back in Boston. So if you've got a track record and a history and lots of numbers on the back of your baseball card, the teams are kind of allowing them to work at their own pace, sometimes just because they're good guys and other times because it's a necessity.
That last fastball from Matt Cook sailed on him. Here's the 3-2 to Seager. Called strike 3. Jeff Nelson rings him up. Matt Cook has been and always has been a strike thrower. He's generally around the strike zone.
Yeah, the bottom of the strike zone right there, right at the bottom of the kneecaps to Corey Seager for a called strike 3. You mentioned his command was outstanding. Hopefully that'll return.
Well, here's a return of the Red Menace, Justin Turner. Having a big spring, 355. He's homered twice. Jumps on the first pitch for Matt Cook. A fastball is skied along the right field line. Goldie's out there. And a good start for Matt Cook. A 1-2-3 first. Diamondbacks coming up. Truck starter for LA. It's the Dodgers' #1 minor league prospect, 23-year-old right-hander Walker Buehler. In fact, one of the top pitching prospects in all of baseball. The first rounder out of Vanderbilt in the draft in 2015.
Big-time strikeout pitcher in the minor leagues. 131 punch-outs in only 93 2/3 innings as a minor leaguer. Not a big guy, 6'1", 180 out there. You see him walking down the street, you wouldn't assume he's a #1 pick and a top of the rotation guy in the future, but indeed he is.
Walker Buehler's best pitch is a fastball. Usually sits upper 90s and grades out as plus. He's got a sharp curveball and slider, both already above average pitches, and he can mix in a cutter and changeup as well. David Peralta red hot this spring, a .500 hitter as he steps in here, but he's down 0-2. A homer and 7 RBIs for David, 14 for 28 at the plate.
I don't care what time of year it is. 500 is really, really good.
Riding a 7-game hit streak, but he looks at strike 3. There's that Walker fastball at 97. Walker Buehler. Here's the lineup for Torey Lovullo's D-backs.
David Peralta goes down on strikes. Started for the Diamondbacks this afternoon. He'll be out in left field. A.J. Pollock follows. He'll be playing center. Paul Goldschmidt down at first. Jake Lamb across the diamond at third. Steven Souza Jr. out in right field. Alex Avila will be the designated hitter with Ketel Marte at short. John Ryan Murphy doing the catching, and Christopher DeGrone at second base.
A.J. Pollock steps in, the center fielder today.
Look at this fastball. Coming.
98 miles an hour from Walker Buehler. A.J. 7 for 27 on the spring. He's yet to homer. Have you noticed we've brought out some of our bag of tricks in the truck today?
I did notice the boys in the truck have been busy.
We'll have our StatCast up and running. That's provided by Amazon Web Services, and we've got the K-Zone going. It's a very not at all intrusive up there, but it gives you a good idea of exactly the location of some of these pitches.
Yeah, you'll see where the pitch is as it crosses home plate, which is usually the determining factor depending on the home plate umpire. And that one off the plate inside at 99. I'll tell you another thing about Buehler. Not only does he throw hard, but for a guy that's 6'1", he really gets a lot of downward plane on the ball. High arm angle, gets it going down the hill into that hitting zone.
That's headed toward the seats. Bellinger is there, and he can't quite get there. It's in the stands.
I had enough room to make that play, just didn't get over to the barrier in time. Wasn't popped that high in the air off the bat of A.J. Pollock, but he has new life here. A chance to do something with 2 strikes, 1 out.
Another fastball from Buehler missed that time, and it's full 3-2.
And we mentioned our key to the game was get comfortable, and this is a guy the Diamondbacks are going to see an awful lot of, if not this year, certainly in the very near future. So take some mental notes.
Figures to be the first guy called up for the minors if there's a rotation injury. Logan Forsythe has that one 2 outs. Let's take a look at the Dodgers defensively. That's brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Matt Kemp, the veteran, out in left field with Chris Taylor in center. Yasiel Puig over in right. It'll be Turner and Seager on the left side of the Dodger infield. Forsythe and Bellinger over on the right side. Austin Barnes doing the catching, or the right-hander Walker Buehler. And you see Kyle Farmer serving as the designated hitter today.
Here's Goldie. Boy, consistent 97-98 from Buehler. Paul Goldschmidt 364 with a home run this spring. He's hit safely in 7 of his last 9 Cactus League games.
That's a tough pitch to hit right there. 98 at the bottom of the kneecaps on the outside corner.
Go get him. Walker Buehler was sent to the minor leagues earlier this week. He's back in big league camp to make this start. His spring got off to a delayed start anyway, had an offseason back injury that had to be dealt with.
Right here, Goldie.
3-1 to Goldie with Jake Lamb on deck. That's out of play. Full count 3-2. Walker Buehler got his first big league cup of coffee last year as a September call-up. Just 9 1/3 innings over 8 appearances, all in relief. He actually began last season in A-ball, but flew all the way up through the Dodgers minor league system in 1 year. Projected to be a top of the rotation starter in the big leagues. That's lined to Forsythe at second, and Buehler works the 1-2-3 first. No score in Scottsdale.
It's AutoNation Truck Month, and we've got a huge
D-backs at Chase Field this year. D-backs will celebrate with a series of events, starting with opening weekend against the Rockies. The first 20,000 fans with us Saturday, March 31st. will take home this 1998 replica jersey courtesy of Chase. Visit dbacks.com/20. It'll be a big year celebrating 20 seasons of D-backs baseball. Cody Bellinger, the Valley native, leads off the Dodgers second against Matt Cook. First pitch swinging. Christopher Negron has to range way over there from second base. Low throw. Goldie can't quite scoop it, and Bellinger's aboard. Negron was shaded over toward the right field line. Had a long way to go to get that one.
Long way to go to get that ball up the middle of the field on the backhand. Throws on the move. It looks like it got there in time to beat Bellinger. Unfortunately, Goldie just couldn't pick it out of the dirt over there at first base.
You might not recognize Matt Kemp. He has lost 40 pounds. Wow. He looks like a whole new guy now. Back in LA, where he spent the first 9 seasons of his big league career and having a big spring. He's homered 4 times, batting .364. Well, he looks different even from way up here. Jumps on the first one, lines it to center. There's A.J. Pollock.
Nice play out there by A.J. That knuckling line drive hit just a little bit to his right and in. Never took his eyes off that ball. It was dancing all over the place to get out there to center field.
Yasiel Puig. 9 for 29 this spring. No home runs. Up there really chasing some of these first pitch fastballs. Takes Pollock all the way back to the warning track in center. Bellinger is back to first. 2 outs.
I tell you, Puig always gets a reaction. I would imagine if he goes to dinner and they call his name, Puig party of 2, some of the people in the restaurant probably boo and some probably cheer.
Puig, your friend.
A lot of Dodger fans here again today, as always.
Over from Camelback Ranch in Glendale. Second baseman Logan Forsythe. He's homered twice this spring. 8 for 19. Bellinger at first. 2 outs. Good fastball from Matt Cook. We're seeing consistent low 90s velocity from Matt. The pride of Cherokee, Iowa. Pitched his college ball at Louisville. D-backs with the trade of Anthony Banda are going to need some organizational rotation depth at some point. You always need more than 5. And Matt Cook could very likely play a role in this 2018 season for Torey Lovullo and Mike Butcher. Mike Fetter's down there as well today. This is bounced to shortstop for Marte. The toss to Negron for the force on Bellinger. 2 scoreless for Matt Cook. D-backs and Dodgers.
Combine Sanderson Ford Truck Month with K3 Grow.
Backs and Dodgers, Steve Berthume, Bob Brenly along the way, joined from the Diamondback dugout by Daniel Descalso. How's it going so far?
Oh, it's going well, guys. How are you?
We're having a ball up here, but we have the easy job. You have the tough one. Daniel, your second spring with the D-backs. How does this one compare to last year, your first?
Well, obviously, I'm a lot more comfortable over here. My second go-round. Know all the guys, the coaching staff, and you know, I was gone for about 10 days last year for the Classic, and so it's nice to get a full spring under my belt, and just knowing all the guys and being more comfortable has made a lot of fun.
I forgot you were playing for Team Italy, right?
That's right.
Goldie was with Team USA, had a number of guys. Silvino Braccio playing for Venezuela. Here's Jake Lamb to lead off the bottom of the second against Walker Buehler.
Hey, Daniel, our key to the game today, somewhat in jest, is get comfortable. You're going to play these Dodgers 19 times during the regular season. How much attention do you pay in a spring training game like this? A guy you haven't seen a lot of in Walker Buehler. Are guys making mental notes or physical notes over there in the dugout?
You know, I'm sure this is a lot of our guys' first look at Buehler. He's you know, one of their prospects. A guy we'll probably see help him out this year. So, you know, you get your first look at him, maybe make a few mental notes, and if we do see him again during the season, hopefully that can carry over and help you out during the regular season. 19
times is a lot, isn't it?
That's a lot. Yeah, we get real familiar with these guys and the Giants and the Rockies and the Padres. So, you know, it doesn't help that we see him another like 3 or 4 times during the spring as well.
Yeah, it's funny, Daniel. Dodger fans will probably tell you their big rival, of course, is the Giants, but Diamondback fans would say the Dodgers. How have you seen this rivalry evolve in your short time here?
Well, you know, obviously they knocked us out of the playoffs last year, but during the regular season, I thought we had some great series against these guys, some back and forth matchups. I think the win-loss total was pretty even throughout the year. You know, we matched up pretty well with these guys, and you know, it's a fun test whenever we square off against them.
Well, we got some new guys this year, Daniel. You were one last year. This year, here's another one, Steven Souza Jr. And what have you seen from him so far?
I mean, he's a tremendous athlete. We've seen him run a bunch of balls down in the outfield. Obviously, he's got some power. He's probably going to put me out of an outfield job this year with him and Dyson. I probably won't have to run out there in the grass too much. I can stick to the infield. But, you know, we're excited to have Steven and Dyson in the outfield mix this year.
Yeah, there is a different roster construction, isn't there, this year? Because you've got Souza, you've got Dyson. We're told that Chris Owings is going to play a little bit everywhere. Some of the spots that you play. How does that impact you?
Well, like I said, I probably won't find myself in the outfield this year unless some real bad things happen. So for me, I've been playing a lot of second this spring, been bouncing around to some third. Haven't played any first yet. So I would expect that, you know, I'll kind of do the same thing as I did last year and bounce around and match up in some different spots and just try to do some things to help us win ball games.
You left out the pitching.
Well, I don't want to do that. We've talked about that before. I've got my unblemished record on the mound. I don't want to ruin that.
He has a career ERA, Bob, of 0.
0.
2 1/3 scoreless. No base runners, no hits. So I'd like to keep it that way.
You like to pitch to contact? Is that what we understand?
Yes.
The scouting report?
Yeah, you know, when I get in the game, it's about 4 hours in. We're down by a lot, so we got to keep it moving.
Souza looks at ball 2, 2-2.
Hey, Daniel, you were the guy last year, the new guy on the team. Steven Souza coming over from Tampa Bay. Obviously, you try to acclimate yourself as quickly as you can to your new team, but do you bring something with you that you can impart to your new teammates?
Sure. I mean, for myself, I had been in, you know, a lot of playoff teams, and so I thought I ended up being able to help some guys down the stretch with that knowledge and experience. And you know, Souza coming from the American League East, you know, he's probably got some information on some other pitchers or, you know, stuff that some guys that we wouldn't see normally. So, you know, he's done a great job of fitting in, and this is a really easy group to fit in with. You know, the guys are great, really welcoming. So it feels like Steve's been around here for a while.
Daniel, is there something that stands out to you as the strength of this D-backs ball club this year?
You know, I would have to say it's our starting pitching that carried us, you know, a long way last year. Those guys really set the tone the whole year, and if you get good starts from your starting 5, you're going to have a chance to win a lot of ball games. So I think those guys pick up right where they left off. We're going to be in good shape.
Turner settles for 1 out to move Lamb along. Daniel Descalso, thanks for doing this, man. We'll see you down the road.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Appreciate it. Well, he was a tremendously valuable guy last year.
I mean, you ask Torey Lavello and the coaching staff, where would the team have been without Daniel Descalso? And to people outside the Diamondbacks organization that didn't realize what an important role he played with this club, they might say, you're talking about the same Daniel Descalso from St. Louis? Well, if you ask Tony La Russa, he'd say he was equally as valuable for the Cardinals as he was last year for the Diamondbacks.
A lot of postseason experience he brings to that clubhouse. All those years with the Cardinals and 2 years in Colorado. Alex Avila, the catcher, is the DH today. Diamondbacks again look like they will go with 3 catchers. Avila, Mathis. The question is, will the third be Chris Herman or John Ryan Murphy? It's Murphy behind the plate today. Shift is on against Avila. Alex having a slow spring, 1 for 15. That one, though, is a home run. How's the fit here, Bob, for Alex Avila?
I think it's going to be really good. Just the few exchanges I've had with Alex, he just seems like a very poised, very confident, yet very professional behind the plate. He doesn't goof around a lot. You won't see a lot of you know, playing to the cameras or playing to the fans. His main goal is to do some things offensively with the bat and get his pitcher through the ball game. Very serious about his craft.
That one kicks away from Austin Barnes, and Lamb gets third. I think you put it very well there, Alex. You don't see a lot of antics. He seems to be very professional, very businesslike.
And we may see that side of him moving forward if he has that side, but I think he's taken the proper approach with a new ball club. Come in here and show him that you're serious, show him that you want to win, and you're going to do everything in your power to help push the team in that direction.
Dodgers infield will come in. 1-2 on Avila now with Lamb at third. And you notice right away, one of the things that Avila does bring to the Diamondbacks is that left-hand bat. Helps even things out just a little bit. Chris Iannetta now across the complex here, re-signing with the Rockies. They like the way he runs a game. Left-hand hitter. He's got some power. A lot to like about Alex Avila. Got a 2-year deal. Called strike 3. Buehler goes to that fastball and just did catch the corner. His second strikeout, 2 down.
Not only is he a high-octane pitcher out there on the mound, but he gets quite a bit of movement on that fastball. Started it on the inside corner, tailed it on the outer third of the plate at 97 for strike 3.
Ketel Marte likely to see more time this year at second base during the regular season. He's in there at shortstop today. And having a good spring, 10 for 23. In fact, Ketel, as he steps in here, has reached safely in 11 of his last 16 plate appearances. Trying to get Lamb home from third with 2 outs. Carved that one foul, and it's 0-2. Tried to spot that pitch and just missed. It's 1-2. Walker Buehler was projected to be a top 5 pick in the 2015 draft, but he suffered an elbow injury just before his final season at Vanderbilt and was not at full strength, so he dropped to the bottom of the first round and then had Tommy John surgery right after he signed with LA. So he missed nearly all of the 2016 season. And as we mentioned last year, flew all the way up the charts from A ball straight to the big leagues.
It seems like a lot of players that come out of that Vanderbilt program are ready to move quickly through professional organizations. We see it happen all the time with guys that come out of that Vanderbilt program.
Missed again, and it's full 3-2. He's out of Lexington, Kentucky, Walker Buehler. John Ryan Murphy, the catcher, would be next. the mound. Seager behind the bag. His first day at shortstop. No problem there. They strand Lamb at third. We'll head to the third. No score. D-backs and Dodgers.
Honda's Dream Garage Spring Event.
Dodgers no score as we start the third. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. Delighted to announce once again that Brandon Webb will be starring on the D-backs live pre and post game shows this year with us on Fox Sports Arizona. Webby, it's good to have you here.
Yeah, good to be back here and get wet my whistle a little bit before the regular season.
How was the off season?
It was good. Yeah, can't complain. I mean, just full of sports and kids, and I've got my little one is starting baseball and soccer, so 3 ways is tough.
Let me ask you a question, Webby. Going back to your playing days, when did you start your off-season program to get ready for spring training? Because you were the same way. These guys on the field now, most of them show up ready to go.
Yeah, we probably started a little bit later back in the day. I think I probably started throwing. Sometimes it was December 1st. Sometimes I waited till January 1st. It kind of depended on the innings that I had that previous year.
Austin Barnes, the Dodgers catcher, leads off the third against Matt Cook.
And was there a number of innings or anything, appearances that you felt you had to reach before camp ended? We were talking about hitters before, and Matt Williams always needed 50 at bats. Gonzo wanted 50 or 60. Steve Finley wanted 190. But you know, everybody needs their own kind of preparation.
Yeah, I think for a starting pitcher, for myself, I was just looking to get up and down, 6 times, and was able to do that usually, for the most part. And if you couldn't do it, you'd go back on a B game and get those up and downs, or finish in the bullpen if you had some quick innings. But getting a good 6 innings in and starting your season, I think on the right foot, I think it's about where you need to be.
Well, looking at Matt Cook, Webby, he's looked real good this spring. 4 appearances, 2 starts, only 2 earned runs allowed. His previous outing was Saturday here against the Royals. 2 scoreless innings in relief, gave up only 1 hit. And prior to that, 2 scoreless in a start against the Padres in Peoria. Barnes lines one to center. Pollock is there. Your thoughts on Matt Cook?
Yeah, we saw him a little bit there with us last year, I believe, and maybe 2 years ago as well. Nice young arm. Throws the ball in the low 90s. Got some nice movement. Seems to keep the ball on the ground for the most part. But yeah, he's got good potential, I believe.
Kyle Farmer having a big spring. 10 for 21 with 3 homers. He's the DH. Dodgers figure to have Yasmani Grandal and Austin Barnes splitting the catching duties this year, but Farmer's made a lot of noise this spring. Well, this is Matt Cook's general MO. As we mentioned, he's a strike thrower, so he doesn't waste a lot of pitches, and he's been ahead in the count most of the day so far today.
That's a Be a successful day if you can do that. Strikes are obviously the most important thing. Working ahead, and against this line, it looks to be, I don't know, opening day lineup, but that's a lot of starters in there.
Well, Farmer sends one into right center. Souza in front of Pollock. Nice job to get over there by Steven Souza Jr. and Farmer's held to a one-out single.
Got a little preview of the Steven Souza Jr. throwing arm from the gap out there in right center field. He got his feet underneath him and unleashed a bullet to second base, holding Farmer at first.
Yeah, it looked like he had a good chance to get two there, but there's the throw from Souza. Whew. So a long single for Farmer brings up Chris Taylor. It's hard not to really like, I know we talked about this the other day against the Reds, but it's hard not to really like what we've seen defensively from Steven Souza Jr. Covers a lot of ground out there in right field. Taylor grounded out his first time.
No, he's not afraid to dive at any point.
I know pitchers like that, right?
No doubt. I mean, he hustled over there on that play right there, and the arm is obviously there too. So he's going to be great out there. Mentioning Matt Cook, we saw him for the first time really 2 seasons ago when he got a spot start as a September call-up at Nats Park in D.C. and took a no-hitter into the 6th inning in his first career big league start. He retired 14 straight batters at one point in that game. Followed that up with 6 innings of 1-run ball against the Padres at Chase Field. Taylor lifts one in the air pretty deep left center field. Peralta fields for the wall, and he's got just enough room. Farmer back to first, allowed out number 2 off the bat of Taylor.
Well, if you can't keep the ball on the ground as a pitcher, get him to hit it to the big part of the park, right, Webby?
That's right. The wind blowing out to left, left center there. Peralta did a nice job of reaching for the wall there, making sure he had enough room and brought it home.
Corey Seager struck out looking his first time up. Seager making his first start at shortstop in a Cactus League game, coming off an elbow injury. D-backs have the shift on. Marte, the shortstop, on the first base side of second. Negron out there in short right. Here's a look. Some of our new graphics package this year. Fox Sports Arizona. Got a nice clean look this year. Looks good.
I like that right there.
Got the K zone up. We've got StatCast up and running. There was a movement in the truck to call it the web zone. Instead of the K zone.
Oh yeah.
The Webby zone.
That didn't go over well.
No, nobody.
I missed that meeting, Webby.
You gotta had your vote.
It's voted down.
The Webby zone would just be like from the top of the knees down to the dirt.
That's right.
Nothing above the knees.
Right. That's why we couldn't use it. Boy, Seager was jumping on that one. Cook just took just a little bit off. It's 1-2.
You've been throwing any vegetables or fruit or anything this winter to get ready for the alumni game?
Eggplants are sailing over the fence.
The garden hadn't really came in real well, so I've been struggling.
I tell you what, if I were you, I wouldn't leave the RV.
Yeah.
Now, BB, you didn't get to enjoy that one. Last year for some of the postseason pre- and post-game shows, Webby had the RV out in front of Zip Sports Grill.
Ooh,
oh, that thing is sweet.
Nice.
It's sweet. Nicer than some of our hotel rooms. Matt Cook takes care of that one. He's worked 3 scoreless innings and given up just 2 hits. Jr.'s throwing arm. We were talking about StatCast, so our producer Brad the Big Dog Weimer combines the two here.
Love it when a plan comes together. That first step time, 0.26 seconds. That's from the point of contact until Steven Souza Jr.'s first movement, a quarter of a second. He was after that ball in the gap, kept it from going all the way to the wall, and then nearly an 80-mile-an-hour throw off balance back to the infield.
That's some of the things we can measure with StatCast for you. We'll be doing that all year long on Fox Sports Arizona.
Yeah, that first step graphic we showed you right there, there will be balls hit during the season, and why didn't he catch that? Geez, that ball was in the air for a long time, but we'll be able to look at that first step, and some guys are a little quicker than others, and that explains why they don't get to some balls.
New pitcher for the Dodgers, Wilmer Font, as John Ryan Murphy leads off the D-back third. Font spent most of last year in AAA with Oklahoma City. 25 starts. He was 10-8 with a 3.42 ERA. John Ryan Murphy battling for a catcher's job of the big league roster. Just 7 plate appearances with the D-backs last year. Came over from the Minnesota Twins at the trade deadline. Interesting thing about that battle for the third catcher job, if they do indeed decide to go with 3 catchers, both John Ryan Murphy and Chris Herman are out of minor league options. So a decision will need to be made.
And you know, somewhere out there, there's a team in Major League Baseball that's looking for some catching depth, and they have a close eye on the Diamondbacks camp, waiting to see what's going to happen with that third catcher spot.
Well, Murphy's a very good receiver of the baseball. He's graded out very well in terms of pitch framing with the metrics there. 1 for 11 at the plate this spring. Murphy last season both with Rochester in the International League and Reno in the Coast League, just under 80 AAA games. Hit about 240 with 6 homers.
It might have been tough to hit a homer in Reno today.
He got 3 feet of snow or something. Yeah, the Aces field is under a thick blanket of snow. Christopher Negron on deck. Full count on John Ryan Murphy, the catcher. Ball 4, leadoff walk.
Well, Webby, we're glad to see you made it on time today. We had Gracie on one of our previous telecasts, and you know, he knew he was going to be here, but he waited just a little too long to leave home to come to the ballpark and got stuck in the ballpark traffic just getting in.
Yeah, you got to watch that. It backs up.
Yeah,
big time.
We have a massive crowd here today. It's standing room only all along the outfield berm. This place is packed. Negron lines it to Forsythe, and Murphy is just back in time.
probably a good thing they don't have replay of spring training.
What are you saying?
It looked like they doubled him off right there. I mean, Murphy had a good read. He stopped when he saw the line drive, turned around to face the play, but it's a nice quick catch and throw by Logan Forsythe. Made that a close play at first.
Chance for David Peralta, who struck out looking to lead it off for the Diamondbacks. Good write-up on the AZ Central website from Nick Picoro yesterday about how much better David feels coming off that hand surgery a little under 2 years ago now. He said last year just the right hand never quite felt like it was back to full strength, but now it does. And he's had a tremendous spring. Had surgery on that right hand, right wrist back in August 2 years ago. That was a rough season for him, 2016. 3 different trips to the DL. Wrist and back problems.
Well, obviously the numbers would say that David has been locked in all spring long, but sometimes you can just tell by the way a guy takes a pitch that he's right on time. His foot's down, he sees the ball well, his hands are in a good hitting position. That's the spot David's in right now. He just looks like he's locked in on every pitch.
Well, you mentioned the hands, Bob. He's lowered his hands up there just a bit. Think back to a few years ago when he would flick the bat with his wrist, almost like a fishing pole. Doesn't do that anymore. This year, the hands are a little lower than they were last season. Trying to lift the ball up in the air and hit more line drives like that one. Murphy takes the turn and heads for third. David Peralta's now hit safely in 8 straight Cactus League games.
Just send him down to Chase Field. He's ready to go.
Sure is.
Of course, that's a center cut fastball inside part of the plate. That's what you're supposed to do with those pitches, and that's what David has done all spring long.
They're on the corners with 1 out for A.J. Pollock, who grounded out in his first at bat today. No real news today on Zach Greinke's groin injury suffered Wednesday. Did you ever deal with anything like that as a pitcher?
No groin injuries, no. No, they can you want to be pretty careful with them. They can nag you for a long time, so I'm sure they're being super cautious with that.
I think Zach is going to try and throw a bullpen in the next day or two, and they'll see how he feels after that. Turner on the short hop at third. That brings Murphy in, and the Diamondbacks have a 1-0 lead.
I say it all the time, partner. Just get guys on the plate. It doesn't always have to be a base hit or a sac fly or a ball hit over the fence. Sometimes all it takes is a ground ball to get your teammate on the plate, take a lead in the ball game.
Peralta moves into second base. 2 outs now, 1-0 for Goldie. He lined hard to second his first time up. I did see Zach Greinke on the agility field before the game today doing some long toss with Ryan DePanfilo. So that was certainly encouraging to see. And again, Torlavello after the game Wednesday said he really wasn't concerned about Zach's groin injury. Nothing serious, they believe. Two balls and 1 strike. We're talking about how crowded this place is. I mean, they are lined up all the way from foul pole to foul pole here. The outfield berm standing up. And not a whole lot of grass to be found out there either.
Seats are filled. Concourse is packed with fans.
This place is an absolute gem. Just gorgeous. That's hammered hard but foul down the left field line. Full count 3-2. We were mentioning before the game today that the Chicago Tribune, which of course covers the Cubs, they got brand new Sloan Park over there in Mesa, but even the Tribune said this is the nicest Cactus League ballpark there is.
There you go. They should know.
Here comes Webby.
Not quite enough.
Not enough.
Broke his bat.
Webby broke a few bats back in the day.
That's right.
Oh, man.
That's
We used to sit over there in the dugout and watch guys go back to the dugout shaking their hands. They pull off their batting gloves and look at their fingers like they expected them to be bleeding. That sinker just boring in on the hands of right-handed hitters. Oh, that's not fair, Webby.
That's the fun thing you get to do. You throw sinkers and maybe get it in there and break a bat too. It's fun as a pitcher.
Right in on those hands.
Speaking Speaking of broken bats, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I haven't seen nearly as many this spring as you normally see, especially the ones where the barrel of the bat goes whirly-birding out onto the field or up into the stands. MLB several years ago really tightened down their quality control on the bat companies, and I think we're seeing the results of that. Not nearly as many of those dangerous bats flying up in the stands.
Yeah, they really raised the standards of what was required in the maple that so many of the players started using. Became real popular after Barry Bonds started hitting all those home runs. There's a walk to Goldie. It'll bring up Jake Lamb. Second walk in the inning for Wilmer Font. He's pitching a little more like Comic Sans right now. See, with the Font.
Oh, okay, I get you. I get you.
Yeah, that was a stretch. Jake Lamb walked his first time up against Walker Buehler.
I haven't really paid that much attention to it. We've talked about it several times on the air already this spring. The meetings on the mound. Now, Austin Barnes just ran out there to have a few words with Font and ran right back behind home plate. But that's a visit.
That's a visit. Counts.
Is 6 enough? Really? No, that's the limit. 6 is that enough? Do you think over the course of a 9-inning game?
That's not too many. Those little short ones like that, you know, just trying to calm your pitcher down. You know, giving him a little breather, a little break after, you know, a couple walks. You know, you see it all the time. You know, 6 is probably going to be pushing it. But speed up rules.
Here we were talking Wednesday during the game. Minor League Baseball instituting a 15-second pitch clock with the bases empty this year.
Get it and go.
Yeah, you have to.
You got to.
2-0 on a Jake Lamb. Two on and 2 out. Peralta, the runner at second, and Goldie at first. There's a strike, 2-1.
Well, we got StatCast in the house today. All kinds of things. We're going to look at the secondary lead out there. You see who was that out there? David Peralta, rather, taking his secondary lead. Got as far as about 27 feet off the bag, almost a third of the way to third base before slamming on the brakes and going back to the bag. Well, especially with 2 outs in the inning, that's so important to get that big secondary lead so you can score on just about anything hit into the outfield.
And the secondary lead, for those who aren't sure?
Well, you take your primary lead when the pitcher's in the set position right there, and then as he delivers, you shuffle off. You can see David at the bottom of your picture there.
Lamb shoots that toward the right field corner. Peralta will score. Goldie being waved home. Here's the relay, and he is in there. 2-run double for Jake Lamb, and it's 3-0.
Oh, right where he likes it, down and in, just above the knees on that inside corner, just drops the bat head on it. Very quick, compact swing that time. And with the secondary lead that Goldie was able to get over at first base, that allowed him to score on that ball hit down into the right field corner.
That's a great point. That really does make a difference, doesn't it? That secondary lead?
Absolutely. And you don't have to be a fast runner to do it. You just have to be aware and know the timing of a play, know the timing of a pitch, when it's going to get into the hitting zone. And when that ball gets into the hitting zone, your right foot should be coming down on the ground. And if the ball is put into play, you just keep going. If the ball goes by the hitting zone to the catcher, you drop that right foot on the ground, hit the brakes, and go back to the bag.
Steven Souza Jr. down 0-2. Well, Dave McKay responsible for these Diamondback base runners. And we've got some of the best in the business. Goldie might be the best base runner on the team.
As you might expect, he's just so alert, so aware of the situation, what he needs to do. He always knows where the defenders are playing. Just a heads-up base runner.
Diamondbacks strike first. They lead it 3-0. from Jake Lamb. Both Peralta and Goldschmidt scored on that one, Bob, but there's got to be better orchestration on the high fives.
Yeah, that's why you have spring training, to work on things like this. Are we going high five? Are we going low five? Are we just going to slap hands? What are we going to do? And Goldie and David are going to work it out. I'm sure by opening day they'll know exactly what to do when David scores that first run of the season.
That'll improve the choreography. New pitcher for the Diamondbacks, right-hander Michael Blazek, appearing today on his 29th birthday. Among the group of major league relief arms signed by the D-backs to minor league deals in January. And most of Blazek's previous big league experience has been with the Milwaukee Brewers. It was a short season for him last year as he dealt with some injuries. Justin Turner, the Red Menace, leads off the LA fourth. Blazek on after 3 scoreless innings of 2-hit ball for Matt Cook, who looked good again today.
It looked like Turner tightened up his hair a little bit. The beard's still real long and real red, but he used to have long red hair hanging down over the back of his uniform.
Well, he got married. Clayton Kershaw officiated, so maybe he had to clean it up just a little bit. Land at third.
Well, I don't care what his hair looks like. That guy can hit.
Sure can. There's another one, Cody Bellinger. Although Bellinger's had something of a slow spring, he's looked a lot this spring like he did in the postseason last year. A lot of swing and miss, chasing breaking balls. He did single his first time up. Diamondbacks will shade over a bit toward the right side.
Michael, I was just going to say one thing about postseason baseball is everybody in the world watches it. So if you have a weakness and you're facing one of the best pitching staffs in baseball and they attack your weakness with consistency and get you out, everybody in baseball is going right back to that spot the next year.
Yeah, you get exploited a little bit, and you know everybody wants to attack that one zone. Cody Bellinger, I feel like he's all or nothing. That's where you get the big swing and misses, but he'll hit some big bombs too.
Bellinger, 15 postseason games, hit .219. Homered 3 times, but really had issues against Houston in the World Series. He struck out 17 times in 28 at-bats in the World Series. Keep in mind, though, he's still only 22 years old. Launches one here, high and deep to right center field. And there it goes. Cody Bellinger's second this spring, and it's 3-1. Well, last year, 39 homers, the National League Rookie of the Year, and you just saw why.
And that's why the Dodgers will live with the occasional swing and a miss, occasional getting jammed with good fastballs or chasing breaking balls in the dirt, because every now and again he'll do this. Breaking ball 85 right in the middle of the plate. Absolutely toasted to right center field.
Webby, can you believe how skinny Matt Kemp is? He's dropped 40 LBs.
Oh, I know.
He
don't
looks
even
like
recognize him. Look at his legs.
Does look like a different guy, doesn't he?
A lot of injuries. You know, take some weight off, take some pressure off those joints. Getting older, you know.
Oh, I know.
I know too.
It's contagious. Kemp has looked so good this spring. He's gone from just a guy with a lot of dead contract money to a platoon option in left field. And now today, Dave Roberts said he can likely find some at-bats for Kemp, not just against left-hand pitching, but versus right-handers as well. He's homered 4 times this spring. He says he's having a ball. He's got a whole new outlook on life. There's a look at the defensive alignment against Matt Kemp. Two and two. Fastball there from Blazek at 94.
Matt Kemp, one of those guys that's always hit out of a slightly closed stance. We were talking about the guy the other day, Senzel. the young player for
Nick Senzel for the Reds.
Cincinnati, a young player hitting out of a closed stance, which really is highly unusual nowadays. But this has been Matt Kemp since the first day he got to the big leagues.
Put up some big numbers in the past. Last year with the Atlanta Braves, 276, 19 homers. There's former D-backs hitting coach Turner Ward on the right there. The skipper Dave Roberts on the left. Matt Kemp was working out at Dodger Stadium all winter long. Showed up at Camelback Ranch. Thin as a rail. Yes, he checked. Full count 3-2. Yasiel Puig on deck. Ground ball to shortstop for Ketel Marte. Another low throw. Let's take a look at StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services. Cody Bellinger takes Michael Blazek deep.
33-degree launch angle, exit velocity off the bat, nearly 108 miles an hour. Projected distance just a shade under 400 feet. And that wind that was blowing out earlier in the ball game has died completely now. Flags hanging straight down out there in right center field.
We go for one. He flew out to center his first time up. Michael Blazek battling for a bullpen job. Last year, only 5 appearances with Milwaukee. He spent the season going up and down from AAA Colorado Springs, where he pitched 85 innings in the minors as both a starter and reliever. I think that's one thing, Bob, the Diamondbacks were really aggressive about, bringing in as many guys with major league experience to compete for bullpen spots as they thought was necessary.
Not only the experience that the guys have at the major league level, but the fact that they may be willing to go back down to AAA. You know, ideally they make the ball club and pitch some important innings for you during the season, but at worst you stash him down there in Reno, and if the need arises during the season, you've got a veteran guy that you can reach for and know that he'll come into a ball game and not get scared.
They've got guys here like Chris Medlin and Antonio Bastardo and Michael Blazek. Buchanan is here, of course. Neftali Feliz. Well, Fernando Salas has looked very good this spring. Brought in Albert Suarez as well. Yes, he went. Puig, your friend, not so much. But Bellinger's homer gets the Dodgers on the board. D-backs lead at 3-1.
So I switched to CenturyLink Internet.
D-backs lead the Dodgers 3-1. Fans, make sure you secure the best seats for the D-backs 20th anniversary season with the D-backs ticket plan. You can choose from a mini plan, a weekend, a series plan. Go for a half season or all in with full season tickets. Visit dbacks.com. It'll be a lot of fun at the ballpark this year. Alex Avila, the DH today, leads off the fourth against Wilmer Font. I know Avila is the DH today, but he figures to catch somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 games or so with the Diamondbacks this year. Webby. Brandon Webb with us in the booth here. How many conversations do you need to have with the guy who's a new catcher for you before you feel comfortable? And he feels
several.
comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably like Mathis was last year, you know, with Greinke and those guys. They've never pitched to him, so he's got to, you know, he's catching the bullpens before the games and talking with them, you know, before their starts and during their starts, just getting to know their, you know, their repertoire and what they like to do in certain situations. So it's a learning experience right here for Alex Avila all spring to get to know these pitchers, bullpen and starters.
Left-hand batter. You see the Dodgers have the shift on with Seager, the shortstop, in the middle of your screen there on the first base side of second. That bounce foul. And then I imagine once you have conversations, he's got to actually crouch down there and get a look at how your ball moves, because everybody's moves differently.
Yeah, I think that's more important than the verbal. I think you get out there and you, like I said, you catching the bullpens and you're catching these games and you're getting in the situations, and then you know what he's maybe shaking to and what he likes to do in certain counts and situations.
I've told the story in the past about a teammate of mine with the San Francisco Giants. That one grounded to the right side. Should be no trouble for the Dodgers. And he got traded from the Kansas City Royals to the Giants. So spring training, like you're talking to him. Yeah, I throw a fastball, it cuts sometimes. I throw a little slider, big slow curve. Okay, good. The first time I caught the guy down in the bullpen, every pitch looked exactly like the one before. Whether it was a cutter or a slider or a curveball, they all looked the same. He was a very effective pitcher at the major league level, basically throwing cut fastballs, but he told me he had a big over-the-top curve, and when he threw it,
never saw that.
That's not a big curve. So I agree with you, Webby. It's more important to get out there and actually see it rather than just talk about it in the clubhouse.
Right.
I mean, last year the Diamondbacks' two primary catchers were both new guys, and Chris Iannett and Mathis. And Jeff, of course, is back this year, but now we've got Alex Avila, John Ryan Murphy, Chris Herman back as well. But Avila's a guy that's been around the block. He's got a long big league resume, so it shouldn't take him long to get comfortable.
I think what may take a while is getting to know the hitters, especially the hitters in the National League West that where you're going to see 19 times a year. And given his experience and given the places he's played before coming here to Arizona, I don't think he'll have any trouble adjusting and learning opposing hitters, especially with the scouting and the video work that the Diamondbacks do before every opponent.
Diamondback players and coaches have as much information going into a ball game as any player or coach in the big leagues. The analytics team makes sure of that. Been a big effort and big emphasis placed by Mike Hazen's front office on that type of stuff with Mike Fitzgerald and their whole analytics staff here. There's a mountain of information. Boy, Marte just keeps slapping them foul one after the other. How much did you have when you went out there? I don't imagine it was nearly as much. This guy likes it inside. This guy likes it up. That was probably about it.
I didn't do much. I was lucky that I didn't do much of the scouting report stuff. We did the main one with you know, BP and you know, me and Snyder would get together before the game and do so what are we throwing? Like sinkers in, sinkers away, change ups for strikeouts. Okay.
Good enough.
That was it. You know, Snyder did a good job of doing his homework.
Well, you were a pitcher, though. You didn't really have to adjust too much depending on the opposing hitters. You were going to throw that sinker up there and mix in an occasional changeup. You had a real good curveball. You didn't use too much.
Yeah, not too much. That's the thing. I mean, I felt like if I located my pitch, you know, I didn't have much more to go with. You know, there's just a lot more. It's different. It's a lot different game than it is now.
Ketel Marte making Wilmer Font work here, and the work continues. Just drive the pitcher nuts when a guy just keeps fouling him off one after another, especially with 2 strikes.
Throwing good pitches. You know, Marte's doing just a nice job of fighting those things off, shoot them over on the left side of the field. And yeah, it's a little bit aggravating, wasting pitches.
Put it in play. That's what the pitcher's thinking, and the catcher.
I always like Pedro Martinez's quote when he said pitchers hate to throw pitches.
That's true. It's true.
Get me back in as quickly as possible. I don't want to be out there any longer than I want to be or have to be.
Well, Barnes can't quite hang on. Finally got strike 3 there, but we'll keep going. This goes back to what, Bob, I think you were talking about with Ketel Marte's approach the other day against the Reds. The way he just kind of goes with things and takes what's given to him up there.
Early in the count or in hitters counts, he'll look to drive the ball or maybe pull it to right field. But for the most part this spring, we've seen him very patient, lets the ball get deep into the hitting zone. Strikes that are up and out over the plate, he's been lining them into left field. I love having a guy in the lineup like this that can force a pitcher to throw a boatload of pitches to get an out. And if you have 2 or 3 guys like this in your lineup, it's going to be a short day for the starter. Yeah.
He's already seen in the ball game 17 pitches, Ketel Marte. On the ground to second base, Logan Forsythe. Well, it took a while, but they finally get Marte for out number 2.
See, but I guarantee you, when he gets back to the bench, his coaching staff, his teammates are going to tell him, great at bat, great at bat. It ended with a 4-3 ground out to second. It won't look like much in the box score, but during the regular season, that's the kind of at bat that will take a toll and force the pitcher to make a mistake to somebody hitting behind him.
Well, he's come a long way, and he's still just a young guy, Ketel Marte. He's only 24. They're writing down another mound visit,
yeah,
I think.
Austin Barnes just quickly ran out to the mound, had a couple of words, and back behind home plate.
Jeff Nelson is scribbling on his card there. It's funny, every time somebody goes to the mound, the umpire, and now he signals, yes, that counts as one visit. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to put you on report. And then he writes down on his little card and gestures both to the press box and the Dodger dugout. That was a mound visit. We've counted that one. Here's to catcher John Ryan Murphy.
And like a lot of rule changes, I'm sure it'll take a while to kind of smooth it out a little bit, because in that situation right there, Austin Barnes quickly ran to the mound, talked to his pitcher. He was behind the plate ready to start the inning or start the at bat. And Jeff Nelson was the one who had slowed the game down because he had to pull out his lineup card and write down the mound visit.
You found a way to make it the umpire's fault.
Well, I mean, yeah, we could clearly see Barnes was behind the plate ready to go, and Jeff Nelson was writing things.
Yeah, but you said it. He went toward the mound, and that it's a little nitpicky thing, but that's a big part of this new rule, is where the conversation actually takes place. For example, if there's a wild pitch and the pitcher comes home to cover the plate, they can stand there after the play and chat all they want. It does not count as a mound visit. But if he goes out there, it does, and it did. Murphy strikes out. Font works a 1-2-3-4. D-backs lead at 3-1.
last half inning. We're going to give you the pitch by pitch here. A lot of pitches. Just notice how many are on the inside part of the plate. Nearly every fastball that was thrown in that at bat right on the inside corner. He did try to sneak a breaking ball away later in the count, but everything in, and Marte just battling. Get a piece, stay alive. There was a change up on the outside corner of the plate. There's another breaking ball, just pounding away at that inside part of the plate until ultimately he got Marte to roll over on a breaking ball to second base. But that's one of those things you want to file away for later. Yeah, Dodgers pounding him inside, in, especially with the fastballs.
Fernando Salas, who's had a terrific spring as a D-back, is out there to start the 5th inning against Logan Forsythe. 32-year-old right-hander, 8 seasons in the big leagues. Last year he pitched for the Mets and the Angels. You saw the numbers a moment ago. He may be pitching his way onto this team. Lamb at third.
Jake Lamb has looked a lot smoother at third base this year than we've seen him in springs past. It always takes a little while to get your legs underneath you, to get that quick first step, the movement to your right and left. But yeah, Jake looks like he's a little bit ahead of the game this year in spring training.
Austin Barnes, the catcher, 2 for 21 this spring. He flew out to center his first time up. Salas has been up to the task in terms of this bullpen competition. He's looked very good this spring. Last year started out with the Mets, was released in the middle of August, and finished up with the Angels. He's appeared in over 450 major league games over the course of an 8-year career. Barnes has a much needed knock this spring. A 1-out single. That'll bring up Kyle Farmer. Farmer single in his first at bat today. He's the DH, a catcher by trade. He's a Georgia Bulldog, an 8th round pick in 2013. Fernando Salas had a big year in 2011. That was his 2nd season in the majors, pitching for Tony La Russa in St. Louis. 68 appearances, finished with 24 saves, and was a big part of their postseason run as the Cardinals won the World Series. Farmer belts one toward the left field corner, but that's out of play.
Strike one.
Yep. Well, he's already got 3 homers this spring, Kyle Farmer. Last year split between AA Tulsa, AAA Oklahoma City. .317 with 10 homers in just over 90 minor league games last year. Get an idea of the lead over there. Chased a pitch up, and it's 1-2. John Ryan Murphy behind the plate for the D-backs today.
John Ryan Murphy, in an odd kind of way, is probably hoping that they try to run on him. He's trying to do everything he can to make this ball club and separate himself from the competition for that third catcher spot. And in order to do that, you need to have opportunities to show what you can do.
Yeah, John Ryan played only 5 games with the D-backs last year, but he's no stranger to the big leagues. More than 350 major league plate appearances after stints with the Yankees and the Twins. 26 years old. He'll be 27 in May. 1-2 on Kyle Farmer. Launches another one toward the bullpen, but this one is also out of play. You can see why Farmer's been making so much noise in Dodgers camp this spring. Last year, his first look at the big leagues, he was 6 for 20. As we said, spent most of the year in the minors, but he's given Dave Roberts and his staff a few things to think about this spring. Little tap to shortstop. Marte knocks it down. Oh, he had a double play ball, was thinking 2 all the way, hit slowly. But he clanked that one E6.
Yeah, probably tried to rush it just a little bit too much. You got to know your runners, and he had plenty of time to turn this double play, but looked up off the ball at the last instant. Just didn't field it cleanly, putting Dodgers at first and second with 1 out in the inning.
And Chris Taylor is the hitter.
Now, they say the good infielders always want the next ball hit right back to him again.
That's
Give
right.
me another chance.
That's right. I'm sure that's what he's thinking too. You won't see Marte miss many of those right there.
Notice I said the good infielders want the ball hit right back to him. If I booted one, I didn't want to see another ball the rest of the day.
That 1 inning.
That was tough.
It ended well, though.
I can't help but think of Tommy Lasorda and Steve Sachs and Pedro Guerrero talking about infielders making errors. Of course, back in the day, Steve Sachs had all kinds of throwing issues, throwing the ball up in the stands on routine ground balls to second base. And one day, Tommy apparently was talking to Pedro Guerrero, the first baseman. He said, "Pete, what do you think about when the pitch is thrown?" "Well, don't hit it to me." "What's your second thought?" "Don't hit it to Saxon." That's an honest man.
Steve Sachs, former D-backs first base coach.
Yeah.
I remember one time, what I learned from Saxy was never leave your phone on the bus. Steve said, we were in San Francisco, and Saxy left his phone on the bus. Not good.
Not good.
They grabbed it, and they called everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I would guess there are probably a few pictures on there, you know, when he got to that point.
He lost all his friends right away. These people still won't talk to him. Wasn't his fault.
Well, you get
all right,
two-run ball game. The Dodgers got something cooking here with 1 out in the inning. This is a good time to make a mound visit, and you see Jeff Nelson, the plate umpire, making the appropriate notes on his card.
Okay.
And they've called enough pitches with the runner at second base. They might want to change the signs right here.
Writing down. All right, you had a visit in the 5th when Murphy went to the mound. That counts. I'm writing it down. And now he'll signal, and off we go. There it is. That's a visit for them. I still go back to some of those Cubs postseason games with Wilson Contreras, the king of the mound visit. And he maybe single-handedly made this rule necessary.
I think you're right.
So I'm fine with it. I mean, some of this stuff we just got to move along. Goldie will give this a look near the Dodger dugout, drifting back, but not back far enough. Webby, your mound visit, as we said, was throw him a sinker, right?
That's it.
So Couldn't have been that big a deal.
No, there's never anything really pressing that they came out and told me. It was usually something to keep my mind off what I was actually trying to do.
Barnes, the runner at second, and Farmer at first. 3-2 to Chris Taylor. That's tap foul. Dodgers have out hit the Diamondbacks 4-2, but the D-backs have a 3-1 lead. Diamondbacks got all 3 runs in the third. An RBI ground out by A.J. Pollock and a 2-run double from Jake Lamb. Dodgers got their run top 4. Cody Bellinger, a solo shot off Michael Blazek. Bellinger's second of the spring. That wind is picked up again, blowing hard in from right center field. That one's a nice one-hopper right to Marte, and he makes up for the error with the double play ball. Well, he did get one hit right back to him. 3-1 D-backs.
It's Ram Truck.
D-backs fans, now is your chance to be a part of opening day. You can enter for the opportunity to hold the flag on the field during the national anthem before the game. Winners will also get 2 tickets for opening day, March 29th against the Rockies. For more information and to enter, go to dbacks.com/holdtheflag, but there is a deadline. It's coming up March 19th. Bottom 5, and the new pitcher for the Dodgers is, I can't say the right-hander Pat Venditti, because this is Pat Venditti, the switch pitcher. He will throw with both arms. Not at the same time.
And because of that, you'll notice the glove he's using, a very odd-looking thing. The web is kind of between the fingers, so he can switch it from hand to hand, depending on which arm he wants to throw the baseball with.
This is an interesting guy, the amphibious pitcher, Pat Venditti. Wait, what? That's ambidextrous. Christopher Negron. It's Venditti's 8th game this spring. Last pitched against the Rockies March 14th. 7 Cactus League games. He's given up only 1 run in 8 1/3. He's got 11 strikeouts. He's only walked 2. I remember for the Red Sox back in the day, Greg Harris used to do that. But you don't see a lot of this with the pitchers.
Greg Harris with Padres, too. That's where I saw him doing it.
Yeah. He used to have that special glove made up.
Yep. If you throw with both arms, I mean, you can throw every day, can't you? A lefty one day, a righty the next day.
It'd take you all day to do your arm exercises, stretches.
And he's got that kind of funky motion, too, where he throws it sort of across his body. A little sidestep. I believe, don't you have to declare which side you're going to pitch from for that particular batter?
Per batter, I believe. I don't think he can switch in between the at-bats, but
I don't think
after
so.
every at-bat, he can switch. If a lefty comes up, I'm sure he'll switch over and you'll see him.
Yeah, now we've got a lefty on deck
That's
and
right.
David Peralta, so we'll keep an eye out for that. This is more stuff for Jeff Nelson to write down.
Well, if Venditti makes a roster, I will read the rule book closely.
More homework. Negron works the leadoff walk. Fourth walk drawn by Diamondbacks hitters today.
Yep, and flips the glove around to the other side to face a left-handed hitter, just like you predicted.
All right, so here's Peralta, who singled and scored his last time up. He's 1 for 2, batting .500 this spring, 15 for 30. Webby, I think maybe you want to teach your little guy here with us in the booth how to throw with both arms.
I don't think he's ever seen this guy, but I was going to show him. This guy throws with both hands. Of course,
And here comes from the left side.
And the delivery's very similar from both sides. I was anxious to see if it would be, you know, arm up high or something different, but it looks an awful lot like his right-handed delivery.
Yeah, he does a good job of mirroring from both sides. I mean, I'm sure he puts a lot of work, or had to be able to do that.
I mean, just the mechanics alone, you would think, would be tiresome for him.
I mean, there are a lot of guys in baseball that are capable of throwing with their left arm, but as you said, to go through a full windup, or in this case, pitch out of the stretch position, Carlos Zambrano could throw the ball from foul pole to foul pole left-handed.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Jeez. But to be able to get big league hitters, that's the difference, you know.
Yeah.
Be able to get there on the mound and be able to compete both hands is incredible.
Yeah, this is the big leagues, for crying out loud. Venditti last year spent the season with the Phillies AAA team, Lehigh Valley, the Iron Pigs. And he had a pretty good year, 9-5 with a 3.36 ERA. Worked just under 70 innings in relief. Peralta skies one up into that cloud cover. Forsythe at second. And now we'll go back to the other side as a right-hand batter comes up, and A.J. Pollock.
I mean, you really have to put some thought defensively. I mean, think about a bunt situation. Is that a right-handed pitcher on the mound, or is he throwing left-handed? Who's covering this area of the field? I mean, there's a lot of goes into this other than just the fact that Venditti's switching back and forth. The defenders behind him, the catcher, everybody has to be able to change on the fly depending on which arm he's throwing with.
And I would think the biggest advantage would be obviously if he's a reliever late game, say 7th, 8th inning, if you decide to pinch hit for somebody. Doesn't matter if he's right-handed or left-handed. If Venditti's out there, you're guaranteed to have the matchup advantage.
And save a pitching change.
See, you're always thinking that's next level right there.
Yeah.
And a mound visit too. Another pop-up. This one a little further out to shallow right center. Forsythe is under it. 2 outs. Paul Goldschmidt is lined out to center, walked and scored a run. He's 0 for 1.
Even his pickoff move looks like as a lefty.
I was just going to say that. That's another thing he's got to work on, his pickoff moves with each arm.
I mean, this may be carrying it a little bit too far, but if there was a late game situation in a tie ball game and you've got a burner over there at first base that might steal his way into scoring position, you might think about pitching left-handed against a right-handed hitter just to hold that runner closer at first base.
He's got all kinds of options that he can do.
You got Gerard Dyson, somebody with that kind of speed over there. You're right, yeah.
Dangerous territory there. Slow breaking ball just off the inside corner. If that ball was a few inches more out on the inside corner of the plate, Goldie might have hit it over the offices out there.
That wind, which is blowing across the outfield right to left, has stopped. The flags are still in right center field. There's a strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I mean, you rarely see Goldie muscle up and really try to hit a ball hard in the air. He's so consistent with his approach at the plate, but the hanging breaking ball is one where occasionally you'll see him come right out of his shoes, trying to swing hard.
You know, that's a good thought, Bob. Goldie only has 1 extra base hit all spring. It's a home run. He's just up there trying to make contact and do his thing. He never gets caught up in that stuff.
I think Goldie, for Goldie and a lot of the good hitters in baseball, it's all about pitch recognition in spring training. Narrow your strike zone down. When you first get to camp, you feel like you can hit everything that makes it to the plate in the air. But you have to narrow that strike zone down so you're swinging at pitches that you can do some damage with. And I think that's what Goldie works on every day. Make sure you swing at good pitches.
He is the only National League position player to appear in each of the last 5 All-Star games. Paul Goldschmidt goes down swinging there. Venditti strands the leadoff walk. We're through 5. The D-backs have a 3-1 lead. Fields a talking stick. D-backs lead the Dodgers 3-1. Fans Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Girls Inc., inspiring all girls to be strong, smart, and bold. A combination of lasting mentoring relationships, safe pro-girl environments, and research-based programming equip girls to lead healthy lives, break the cycle of poverty, and become leaders in our communities. Visit foxsportsupports.com to learn more. Only 2 hits for the Diamondbacks, but they lead the Dodgers 3-1. New pitcher as we start the 6th inning. The right-hander Silvino Bracho. Last year, 21 games with the Diamondbacks, an ERA just over 5.5. Corey Seager leads off the LA 6th as the D-backs put the shift on. Seager making his first start in a Cactus League game at shortstop, coming off that elbow injury. So far today at the plate, 0 for 2. Couple of defensive changes. Jeremy Hazelbaker takes over in left field, replacing David Peralta. And Christian Walker's at first base in place of Paul Goldschmidt. 94 from Bracho, that elevated fastball, and it's 1-1. That's one of the things the coaches really like about Silvino Bracho. He can elevate that fastball, that riser, mid-90s or so.
Even though he struggled somewhat this spring, he's still racking up the strikeouts in 6 innings coming into today. It struck out 9 opposing batters. However, he had surrendered 4 long balls in those 6 innings.
Seager hit one yesterday off the Royals' Jason Hamill. Dodgers beaten by Kansas City at Camelback Ranch yesterday. He was the DH in that game. His first home run this spring. 3-1. Ray Fuentes is also in the game. He's taken over in center field for A.J. Pollock. Leadoff walk. Seager's aboard. That'll bring up Justin Turner. First walk issued by D-backs pitchers today. Turner 0 for 2. Down the third base line, but foul. With Justin Turner, what a year he had last season. And then in October, 3 home runs between the Dodgers division series win over the D-backs and their NLCS win over the Cubs. Had the walk-off to win Game 2 versus Chicago. But he did not have a great World Series. 4 for 25 against the Astros.
I think I mentioned it in years past, but Justin Turner reminds me in some ways of Jose Bautista.
How's that?
Bautista was a utility player for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Didn't have a position. They weren't sure if he was going to hit enough to stick in the big leagues. He goes to Toronto, gets some different coaching, changes his swing a little bit, and suddenly he's one of the best home run hitters in the game. Justin Turner was a utility player for the Mets. And they weren't quite sure what his best position was. They didn't know if he was going to hit enough to play in the big leagues. Comes to L.A. and turns into an all-star down there at third base.
That one inside didn't quite catch Turner. Yeah, he has become one of the big launch angle advocates that they have around the majors. Here's another look. He is really up there trying to lift the ball up in the air. And his home run totals would certainly speak to that. Racho tripped as he fell off the mound, and that will send Seager over to second base on the balk.
Anything happened there? Maybe caught a cleat or something?
Yeah, that happens every now and then. You know, he's coming up and he's bringing his foot back down, and sometimes it comes so close to that dirt. Most of the time it doesn't hit it. Sometimes that cleats, probably new cleats. You know,
yeah,
they've been worn down yet. It's early. Caught a cleat, and you can't throw the ball.
Now, just as a point of rule, I think even if he catches a cleat like that, if he lets the ball go, even if it bounces 3 times before it gets to home plate,
still a ball. It's fine.
Just a ball. It's not a balk.
Yeah, just a normal pitch. But like I said, you're tripping. It's just so hard to let the ball go. Some people can do it. I never could.
2-2 to Justin Turner with Seager at second. This is lifted in the air to center field. Ray Fuentes out there now. Seager stays at second. Cody Bellinger. This was Bellinger in the 4th inning against Michael Blazek. His second this spring.
Yeah, very little doubt about that one. No wind at the time to help knock it down. He crushed that ball.
Bellinger 2 for 2, a single in the home run. Now 8 for 30 on the spring. Bellinger's 39 homers last year, second only to Giancarlo Stanton for the National League lead, which is pretty impressive for a guy who played most of last season at the age of 21 and started the year in the minor leagues. Home run swing there.
When I was 21, I was tearing up the Mid-America Conference and trying to stay eligible.
Academically?
Yes. It all worked out well, but you know, you're a young kid playing college ball. Beautiful Athens, Ohio in the Mid-America Conference.
Oh, yeah. Sounds about like my...
I missed a few classes.
Yeah, me too.
Just by accident, of course.
Of course.
Some kind of scheduling snafu.
We didn't have GPS. You know, some of those buildings were tough to find.
Webby, how about you?
Yeah. The word probation came up a lot. To me.
Academic probation.
I lived on that. Yeah, academic. Yeah, academic. I lived on that.
Did you major? Did you have a major?
I switched them a couple times, and they made me pick one, and I picked kinesiology, and I thought that was like I was going to be a gym teacher or something. Like, well, those classes they're no joke.
No.
700 level class. I wasn't prepared for that.
Dr. Webb.
It didn't go well.
Well, I'll tell you how bad it was for me, Webby. I didn't meet my counselor until my junior year, and I went into her and I said, here's the classes I've taken, here's the classes I've passed. What can I major in to graduate the quickest? So she looked at the classes I had taken and passed and the ones I had not done so well on. She says, I think health education would be a good major for you.
Yeah.
I saw Jeff Nelson write down another mound visit there. 1-2 now. Well, you actually did spend some time as a teacher.
Yeah,
You've told us before.
I mean, eventually I turned it around, got married, and you know, my wife put me on the straight and narrow. I ended up graduating, and I used my teaching credential in the state of California to teach school in the off season.
There you go.
Of course, the story goes on. I actually taught Rex Hudler, the Wonder Dog.
Really?
At Bullard High School in Fresno, California.
Look what happened to him.
Yeah. he was a promising young player till I got a hold of him.
Yeah, the Wonder Dog. Every time we see him, it's the first thing he brings up. He hands you his homework still, which is odd, I think.
He didn't turn it in then. I know that.
Bellinger drives one to right center. Fuentes is over there. 2 down. That'll bring up Matt Kemp.
Well, those are kind of fly balls that could be dangerous for an outfielder. Everybody's playing deep for Bellinger to begin with because he has that tremendous power. He took a full swing and cued that ball off the end of the bat. Looked like it was going to carry out to the warning track or farther and just died. Fortunately, Ray Fuentes got a great read on it, came in and made the play.
Kemp is lined out to center and grounded out to shortstop. He's 0 for 2. He looks like the guy that once stole 40 bases in a season now, Matt Kemp, that he's dropped all that weight. Still got the same right-hand power. 4 home runs this spring. Takes a cut at a Bracho fastball, and it's 0-1.
I remember after that 40-40 season, they asked him, what's your goal next year? He said 50-50. And not too many people were doubting that he could do it.
That's right.
Boy, he was really something when he first broke into the big leagues.
He says he's going to keep riding this thing until the wheels fall off. When asked how long he's going to keep playing. Not thrilled with the call there from Jeff Nelson. It's 0-2. Well, you mentioned the major league resume. That used to what gets you an 8-year, $160 million deal. These days, maybe not so much. But he's still making money on that contract. 2 more years to go at $21.5 million per. course, Kemp has had all those injuries. On the DL twice in Atlanta last year with right hamstring trouble. Several hamstring injuries earlier in his career. Serious ankle and shoulder injuries as well. Bracho just missed with a slider. 2-2. Yasiel Puig would be next. Seager at second, 2 outs. That gets to the backstop behind Murphy. Seager moves up. Another slider from Silvino Bracho.
Yeah, Murphy tried to turn the glove around, fingers down to get to that ball away from him. I've talked to some catching instructors over the last couple of years about that pitch. A breaking ball to a catcher's right. You always try to turn your glove around to get out there and get in front of the ball and block that 5-hole, but in reality, it seems to me like you're better off just going with your glove in a backhanded fashion and blocking that 5-hole.
3-2 to Kemp. Why is that better?
Well, I just think your glove gets into the blocking position quicker. Watch how long it takes him to turn his glove around and just doesn't get it out there quickly enough. If you keep your glove fingers up and just backhand that 5-hole, I think you can cover it a lot quicker. Obviously, that's only on pitches that you can't get to, that are way out there. Normally, you want to get the glove down, fingers down, block the 5-hole, keep it in front. But on those wild ones way over in that other batter's box, you just want to get a body part in front of it.
Bracho goes back to the fastball, gets the strikeout, strands Seager at third, and keeps it 3-1 D-backs.
Honda's Dream Garage Spring.
Bottom of the 6th inning. Jake Lamb, the author of our Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing Cool Play of the Game, a 2-run double in the 3rd.
Game with a couple of teammates on base. We had just talked about secondary leads and how important they are with 2 outs in the inning, and Paul Goldschmidt comes all the way around and scores from first on that double down the right field line.
He'll face a new pitcher on for the Dodgers. Daniel Corsino. The right-hander, his numbers last year in the minor leagues, 23 appearances, an ERA of 4.20. A couple of defensive changes as well. Angelo Moore is now in at 3rd. Luke Raley is the new left fielder. So here's Lamb, a good day. He has walked with the 2-run double. Jake now 9 RBIs in the spring. He's homered twice. Dodgers put 3 defenders on the right side of the infield. Lamb, Souza, and Avila due up in the Diamondbacks' 6th inning. 4, 5, and 6 for Torey Lovullo.
I think it'll be interesting to see when Torrey starts stretching guys out even more. I think at some point you've got to get your guys that you anticipate being your starting position players on their feet for 9 innings.
Yeah, we're at the point now where pretty much everybody gets 3 at bats and then they're done. That's off the glove of Bellinger.
I mean, a lot of times the guys come out of the game in the 6th inning and grab their stuff and go up to the clubhouse, either go to the weight room or the batting cage. Some things they think they might need to work on a little extra, but at some point you need your players out there on the field for 9 innings.
Cesar Puello will pinch run for Jake Lamb. Jake has had his 3 at bat today, so he's done it. Steven Souza Jr. has grounded out, struck out 0 for 2.
Bert, I know you'll second this. We want to send get well wishes and tell him how much we miss Steve Gilbert recovering from surgery. Normally one of the first guys at the ballpark every day and the last to leave.
It's not the same with his nightly booth visit. Always good for a laugh.
Yeah, get well, Stevie. We miss you out here.
He's been around the Diamondbacks about as long as you have.
Well, yeah, he was our stat guy in the booth when we first started with Tom Brennan and myself, and Steve Gilbert was a little bit like Dennis Lamb. He was kind of part of the show.
Star of the Dennis Lamb show. I remember the stories of you trying to fix him up with dates.
Well, that was a long time ago. Yeah. It wasn't so much me. It was my partner, Tom Brennan.
Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. Young Stevie Gilbert. Well, it all worked out. Three and 1 to Souza. Alex Avila on deck. Silvino Bracho going to get a little more work in down there in the bullpen. Chris Medlin warming up down there right now as well. Saw Medlin get the start here Monday against the Rockies. Webby, what have you guys got lined up for the pre and post game shows this year on Fox Sports Airs? I know you, Jody, and Todd, Brian Henry get together. Speaking of having a staff and a lot of meetings, these guys, boy.
We got a big meeting coming up next week to talk about that.
Are you bringing some material, some ideas, suggestions?
At least some new stuff, yeah.
Demands?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Putting my fist down.
Puello off with the pitch. It's lifted into right field. It drops in short right in front of Puig. Souza takes a big turn and he's picked off. I think he thought that Puello might head to third on that because it died so far in front of Yasiel Puig. But Puello stopped at second and Souza's picked off first.
Yeah, a lot going on right there. Souza thought that Puello was going to go on to third base. Puig was trying to deke Puello, so he didn't go to third base, and it worked. He stopped him at second base. Unfortunately, Souza rounded the bag too far. That's something you need to learn about Yasiel Puig. He will throw behind you if you're a foot off that base.
So the D-backs get just their third base hit today. But it results in an out. Now Puello at second. 1 down. Alex Avila, the DH, rolls 1 to first. Bellinger has it. Puello moves to third.
Yeah, Yasiel Puig, like a lot of outfielders on those little humpback liners, he had his glove up as if he were going to catch the ball, and then he comes in, scoops it up, bobbles it, and realizes that Souza's too far off the bag at first. I can get him, and he does. And that's one of those plays. It's really not anybody's fault. Nobody did anything wrong. It was just a goofy play. You know, you got fooled by the deke of the outfielder, and then you went too far around the bag, both runners. And with an arm like Puig, he's going to pick one of them off.
Here's Ketel Marte 0 for 2. Seager at shortstop, testing that sore right elbow. No problem so far today in his first offensive start in the Cactus League.
We're through 6. It's 3-1 D-backs.
Inning here at Salt River Fields at Talking Stick. Steve Berthune, Bob Brentley, Brandon Webb along the way. D-backs have a 3-1 lead over the Dodgers. Fans, D-backs baseball from spring training is always live with MLB at Bat. The app will keep you connected every day with live radio calls, video highlights, stats, breaking news, the whole thing. Download MLB at Bat right now, your #1 D-backs app. New pitcher for the Diamondbacks, the right-hander Chris Medlin, auditioning for a bullpen job, maybe actually a starting job down the road somewhere as the D-backs look for rotation depth. And he'll face Yasiel Puig to lead off the LA 7th. Puig has flied out, struck out 0 for 2. Webby, how many games do we have with you this year? You working a lot?
Yeah, about the same.
About the same?
Maybe 35, 38.
Puig sends one out to left field, and there's Hazelbaker. Yeah.
Hopefully some postseason games.
He done well last year.
I want to hear a little bit more about this RV parked out by the set. This sounds like Brad Pitt stuff.
Oh, it was like, oh yeah, it was a Hollywood green room. This thing is gorgeous, baby.
That was big league.
Well, what we did was, as you look at the numbers on Medlin, we were doing some shows live from Zip Sports Grill over there, and then we needed a place to kind of watch the games, hang out. We needed a green room type deal, and Webby was kind enough to park the RV over there. This thing is top shelf. This is first class all the way.
Was his makeup artist and hairdresser?
He was in there.
Yeah.
She.
Yeah, they too. That's a staff.
Oh, yeah.
Like you. He has a staff like you. And boy, I tell you, he had snacks out there for us, all kinds of fancy M&Ms and Cheetos and potato chips. And me and him and Gracie just put our feet up. There's a kitchen table. There's a big kitchen area.
Right.
Nice. There's a table. There's a little living room area. And then there's a bedroom and everything in the back. I mean, you could live in there very comfortably for a long time. It's a sweet setup. Logan Forsythe. So I imagine that you're going to want to use that thing over the course of your work here this year.
For sure.
Bob and I, maybe before games, we can come over, hang out.
I'll roll down and park it under the bridge there. We'll go hang out for the game.
How many parking spaces does that thing take up? I got a feeling I'm going to be parking in the garage across the street.
Cribs from shortstop, and they retire Forsythe.
We're parking right by the trucks.
Austin Barnes, the hitter.
Well, we're looking forward to it with you and Gracie and Jody and Todd. Pre and post, a lot of fun.
Always good
I know
time.
you guys do a lot of work.
Yeah, it's good times.
Yeah, in fact, the Fox Sports Arizona crew does a tremendous job, and for the second consecutive year, Fox Sports Arizona has been named a finalist for the Synopsis Sports Media Awards, along with the folks from the Yankees and the Braves, the Cubs, and the Boston Bruins, in terms of complete sports coverage, the way they do the games, the pregame, the postgame, everything. So that's a very prestigious award in all of media, not just baseball. And congratulations again to everybody, Webby and the crew, Fox Sports Arizona, for that nomination.
Absolutely.
The winner will be announced April 12th. So you're getting some of the best sports coverage available anywhere for any team with the D-backs and Fox Sports Arizona.
So, Webby, do you have a trophy case in your RV?
I don't have one of those.
You might want to think about putting one in.
I probably should.
At least a shelf.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, some guys have what they call the Dig Me room, where they keep all the awards. You could have a Dig Me vehicle.
Yeah.
That way you could drive around and let people see it. As
Charge
opposed to
admission. The
having
Brandon
them-
Webb Museum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Put it on the
Usually they have
grill.
to come over to the house, but you can take it to them.
Be like a hood ornament on that thing.
Put the Cy Young right up there.
Oh, yeah.
Right on the front. 3-1 to Austin Barnes, the ASU Sun Devil. Here's a 2-out walk. Where is the Cy Young?
It's up on a shelf in like a bookcase in my family room right now.
Yeah, it's not. You know, you don't walk in and hear music playing and there's a spotlight on.
Spotlight on. No.
Kyle Farmer, the DH, has single reached on an error. Chris Medlin started a game here Monday against Colorado. Pitched pretty well. And he's a guy that could help either as maybe a long man in the bullpen or as a starter sometime down the road, if he feels he wants to stick around in the organization and maybe start the year in the minors. It's been a long road for Chris Medlin. 2 Tommy John surgeries over the course of his career. But boy, when he was good, he was really good. 2012 with Atlanta, went 10-1 with a 1.57 ERA. And then the next year was a 15-game winner before he needed a second Tommy John. And since then, it's been a long road back. And he plunks Kyle Farmer. So 2 on, 2 out now for Taylor.
2 quick outs for Medlin. Looked like it was going to be a breeze of an inning. And the walk to Barnes. Now he hits Kyle Farmer. You roll around to the top of the order. There's still a few of the starters in the game for the Dodgers. You don't want to face these guys with runners on base.
Barnes at second, Farmer at first. Taylor is 0 for 3. He hit into a double play his last time up. More bookkeeping for Jeff Nelson. Everybody is in form. That's something.
Got to speed up the bookkeeping.
Well, penmanship counts. He's got to write it down, then signal to the press box, and then signal to the Diamondback dugout. That's another mound visit. They don't want the managers. They're going to, I think, be pretty deliberate about that. They don't want the managers caught off guard. Because that's one of the fears with a new rule like this is maybe the managers don't keep track because it's just not something they're used to doing. And then they're caught by surprise at a key point late in the game. And the hope is that they'll have the mound visits up on scoreboards at all 30 parks, much like they might have timeouts in a basketball game up on the scoreboard. But it's all part of the acclimation process. So I think the gestures by Jeff Nelson we're seeing today are maybe a little overstated, but that's all by design. And you can see Torrey once Nelson tells him, okay, I'm with you.
Well, like we said, anytime there's a rule change, there's going to be an adjustment period, and they may tweak it a little bit here or there. I just think it's too much for the home plate umpire. I mean, he's got a lot of stuff to do back there. Yeah, pull a book out of his back pocket and write in it? I mean, we got the guy that sits upstairs that charts the pitches for the umpires. Somebody could do that other than the home plate umpire. Third base umpire doesn't get much action during the course of the game. I think that ought to be his job.
I like it.
Well, when you eventually get your robot balls and strikes called, that will alleviate some work. Medlin was rolling along, Bob, as you mentioned, but he walked Barnes. He hit Farmer. Now ball 4 to Taylor has loaded him up for Corey Seager, and this will be another mound visit. And Jeff Nelson goes right back to the card. There it is. All right, there's another one. 7th inning with 2 outs. That's a Mike Fetters mound visit today.
Well, it's a work in progress. You know, we were talking about during the course of action. If you can envision a ground ball to the right side of the infield, the pitcher runs over to cover first. The catcher runs down the baseline to back up the play. And as they go back to their positions, you know, maybe exchange a few words as long as it doesn't slow the pace of the game. I think that was the whole idea behind the rule was let's play baseball. Let's not talk so much. But if you can get the talking in without disrupting the flow of the game, I don't think that should count as a visit.
Corey Seager walked his last time up. He's 0 for 2. Bases full of Dodgers and 2 outs. D-backs lead at 3-1 here in the 7th. Seager last year, 295 and 22 home runs. He's got Barnes at third, Farmer at second, and Taylor at first.
I have to believe this is Seager's last at bat in this ball game, since it's the first game he started out of position this spring.
He was the DH yesterday and hit a home run against Kansas City. There's a strike, and Medlin's ahead 1-2. He has played some shortstop in a couple of minor league games, but this is his first Cactus League start defensively, coming off that right elbow trouble. He's also been one of the Dodgers that was really, really sick with a flu bug that just tore through their clubhouse. They had a serious flu virus that went right through everybody. And Seager said for 2 days it was floor, bed, back and forth.
Ooh.
It was a really, really bad illness that just about everybody had. Two balls, 2 strikes. Called strike 3. Medlin comes back and leaves them loaded. We stretch in Scottsdale. D-backs lead the Dodgers 3-1.
Oh, I switched.
Salt River Field's a talking stick. D-backs lead the Dodgers. Hey fans, oh boy, you don't want to miss this one. You can commemorate Archie Bradley's wild card game triple with the Archie Bradley audio bobblehead. That's courtesy of Gila River Hotels and Casinos. Get yours Saturday, April 21st before the D-backs and Padres game at Chase Field. Check out dbacks.com. One of the more memorable moments of that 2017 season, Archie Bradley with that triple in the wild card win over the Rockies. John Ryan Murphy leads off the 7th inning. Pops it up, whole bunch of new defenders out there. Perez at second has it. And very quickly one out. I'm going to bring up Christopher Negron. Daniel Corsino back out there on the mound for his second inning of work. We've got Raley in left, Landon in center, Cuadrado in right. Moore the third baseman, Lux the shortstop, Perez at second, and Joe at first. Former Padre Rocky Gale has taken over behind the plate for Austin Barnes. Rocky Gale just joined the Dodgers about 2 weeks ago or so. Down the left field line. Diamondbacks will continue the Cactus League schedule after today. If they can hang on and win this one, they'll improve to 12-9. They're taking on the Padres here tomorrow. 1:10 start. Ryan Atkinson gets the start for the D-backs. You can hear that one on the radio with the governor, Greg Schulte and Tom Candiotti, Leo Gilmartin, the whole thing. Sunday at Goodyear against the Reds. That starter still TBA. 1-2 now on the ground. Drives one pretty deep right center field, and that one gets to the wall. It's over the head of Landon out there. Christopher Negron has a one-out double.
Ball slicing away from the center fielder perfectly. Had some English on it as that ball came off the bat. Started in straightaway center, worked its way back to the gap in right center for an easy double.
No chance for Logan Landon out there in center. Here's Jeremy Hazelbaker. His first at bat today. Took over in left field for David Peralta.
I'm sure you noticed this, partner. I picked up the stat sheet over in the press box, and it has the Diamondbacks on one side and the opposing team that day on the other side. And I looked at the Diamondbacks. Oh, Ahmed, that's Nick Ahmed. And I flipped it over. Wait a minute. Ahmed for the Dodgers?
He's got a brother who's a Dodger.
His younger brother, Michael. I knew better than to think that our statisticians up here in the booth made a mistake.
No.
That was all my mistake.
Yeah. Michael went to Holy Cross in western Massachusetts. Nick, of course, went to UConn in New England. Mike Ahmed last year bothered by an oblique problem. He was barely able to play, in fact, in the Dodgers minor league system. But he played his college ball in Holy Cross. He was a teammate of Torey Lovello's son, Nick. Mike Ahmed. The Ahmeds also have an older brother, Alex. He is a Harvard graduate. Those are some good schools. Holy Cross, Harvard.
Well, if you can't get into Ohio U, I guess Harvard's all right.
What was it? Health services? What were you?
Health education.
Your scam major that you came up with the help of your guidance counselor?
What can we do that sounds good and I can graduate?
Yeah, my college career was a lot like that 4-error game at third base. You know?
It ended up, it worked out in the end.
Bad years, but it turned around at the end, and all's well that ends well.
That's what I say. Well, it is the Harvard of the Midwest.
Harvard on the Hocking River that runs through campus.
Which is not named after Denny Hocking.
No.
We've established that before. Christian Walker on deck. That one almost got away from Rocky Gale behind the plate. Negron stays put, and it's a full count on Hazelbaker, 3-2.
Yeah, we showed you a graphic earlier about the first step on Steven Souza Jr. out in right field. How do you measure the first step for a catcher? The guy's 60 feet. By the time he releases the ball, he's a lot closer than that. Throwing it 100 miles an hour over into the other batter's box, shoulder high. And somehow Rocky Gale got out there and made the play.
Well, if you've caught as many minor league games in your career as Rocky Gale has, I bet you've done that quite a bit.
He's probably done that a few times, yeah.
He's been around a long time, Rocky Gale, now 30 years old. Last year, just 10 big league at bats with San Diego. Hit a home run against Robbie Ray, you might remember, at Petco Park last September. That was his first career big league home run. Little squib shot to shortstop. Gavin Lux is in there now. He charges, throws him out, and they're growing in at third. And a chance for Christian Walker now.
Christian Walker.
Walker's had a good spring, 289, 3 home runs, 3 doubles as well. This guy is really good approach up there. He can just flat out hit. Last year, the most valuable player in the Pacific Coast League. 32 home runs for the Aces. He get 309. It's funny, Walker's season last year almost kind of came out of nowhere. He was picked up by the D-backs front office off the scrap heap at the very end of spring training last year. He was waived twice last spring, once by the Braves and then a few weeks later by the Cincinnati Reds. Finally claimed by the Diamondbacks at the very tail end of March and went on to win an MVP in the Coast League.
Whoops.
Yeah. .32 homers, a new Reno Aces single season record. And our boss Scott Geyer was showing me video photos of Reno today, the field over there, and as we mentioned earlier, it's just under what looks like about 3 feet of snow.
You could not see a white baseball in Reno today.
Nope. 1-2 on Christian Walker. Of course, they're getting snow everywhere. Had another nor'easter in Boston the other day. That was another foot of snow.
Was that like 4 they've had?
They had 3 nor'easter. They call them nor'easters up there, the big storms. 3 of them in 2 weeks. Everybody's without power. Fenway Park is buried under snow. The Harvard boathouse sunk into the Charles River.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. They're trying to lift that thing out of there. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. Walker strikes out. Will hit the 8th inning. It's still 3-1 D-backs.
It's
Arizona, Steve Berthew, Bob Brenly along the way. D-backs leading the Dodgers 3-1 as we start the 8th inning. What's next?
Dennis Lamb fixing the microphones.
Thanks, Dennis. Star of the Dennis Lamb Show. What's next? Brought to you by CenturyLink. We will pick up, boy, oh boy, the Cincinnati Reds feed for you. D-backs and Reds from Goodyear, 1 o'clock on Sunday. Fox Sports Arizona, next Diamondbacks TV broadcast. You and I will be in action again in the final exhibition game of the year, that Tuesday afternoon at Chase Field against Tito Francona's Indians. But we'll have some other teams' feeds of Diamondback games for you over the rest of the spring. Angelo Mora, his numbers in the minors last year, leads off the LA 8th inning.
Well, I happened to be down at Chase Field yesterday for a while, partner. And, boy, it's just a buzz down there. They put the new screens down beyond the dugouts that protect the fans from foul balls. Looks great. I don't think it'll be obtrusive at all for the fans. Workers everywhere. They were aerating parts of the outfield. It was just getting it ready for opening day.
Just about that time of year. Grant Trenbeth and his crew are working hard. Much like Dave Dunn, Marshall Jennings, who've done such a brilliant job here at Salt River Field's a talking stick. This place is just absolutely beautiful. And it's a busy time of year if you're a member of the grounds crew.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before. All the double use facilities down here in Arizona, you know, they take a beating. There's a ball game on these fields every day, whether it's the Rockies or the Diamondbacks. Somebody's playing here every day, and the field looks like they just got it out of the box. Grass is perfect. The infield dirt is perfect.
And it happened actually much sooner than spring training. We had the Japanese professional team here, the Fighters from Nippon Ham played here. We've had I think a Korean amateur team has been working out here, a college team, on some of the backfield. So the whole facility is used from one end to the other. Second inning for Chris Medlin. He left the bases loaded in the 7th after 2 walks and a hit batter. 2-2 on Angelo Mora. Gavin Lux, the shortstop, is in the on-deck circle. Full count on Mora, 3-2. Now the problem for the Diamondbacks, or at least for the Diamondbacks announcers, there's Lux. There are 2 number 91s for the Dodgers.
Is that all?
Rocky Gale, the catcher, and Connor Joe, the first baseman, are both number 91. This is to third. Marty Harum down there. Marty Harum plays a really nice third base. I was noticing that the other day. He can pick it down there. Good defensive third baseman, Marty Harum.
Yeah, really good hands. Gets rid of the ball quickly. It just seems to always be in control down there. They call it the hot corner for a reason. A lot of times you don't have much time to react down there at third base, but Harum so far has been ready for everything that's come his way.
Yeah, he's very smooth. So here is, let's see. It says Connor Joe on the scoreboard, but we've got 77 Gavin Lux in the batter's box. The Dodgers shortstop took over for Corey Seager. Is slicing the other way for Hazelbaker in left field. Pretty deep. It backs him up to the warning track. But he's got it for the second out.
Well, that's the way to stay with it. That ball carried a lot farther than it appeared it was going to when it left the bat, but Hazelbaker never took his eye off of it. Backpedaled onto the warning track and made the play. Wind has picked up here a little bit in the afternoon, blowing out that direction toward left center field.
Here is the left fielder Luke Raley. 14 home runs in the minors last year, left-hand batter. They were talking about Marty Harum at third base and how they call it the hot corner. We were talking with Torey Lovello before the game today, and he was Torey was telling us that's the one thing that Chris Owings hasn't quite had yet at third base. As CO learns and gets more familiar with third base, he may play some down there this year. That ball that really gets right on you.
Yeah. And you can only simulate so much on a backfield. I'm sure Chris Owings has taken 1,000 ground balls a day since he got down here to camp at second, short, and at third.
Walker at first. Nice easy 8th inning for Chris Medlin. Bottom 8 coming up. D-backs still lead at 3-1. Still, D-backs have a 3-1 lead over the Dodgers. Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona, brought to you by White Claw Hard Seltzer, the purest hard seltzer in the world. One of those sounds pretty good right about now. I'm with you. New pitcher for the Dodgers is the right-hander Dylan Baker. 17 games in the minors last year, and ERA just under 3. Ray Fuentes will lead it off for the Diamondbacks, each team with 4 hits. D-backs got all 3 of their runs in the 3rd. An RBI ground out by A.J. Pollock and a 2-run double by Jake Lamb. Dodgers got their run in the top of the 4th. Cody Bellinger, a solo shot, his 2nd this spring. Here's a guy that's had a tremendous spring training, Ray Fuentes, a 400 hitter in Cactus League play with 3 home runs. He has really looked good at the plate. Jumps on the first pitch from Baker. This backs up Landon in deep center field. He's at the wall and he won't get there. Fuentes is on the run. He can fly. Tony Perez-Chica will stop him at 3rd. Boy, that might have got up in a little bit of that wind and really sailed out there on Logan Landon, the center fielder.
Yeah, we saw it happen to the ball hit the left field to Jeremy Hazelbaker in the last half inning. It just seemed to carry a lot farther than it appeared it was going to. And Fuentes gets the barrel of the bat on the ball, and it just goes all the way to the wall out there in center field. A little bit stronger ricochet, he might have ended up with an inside the park home run, but with nobody outs in the inning, the wise thing to do, slam on the brakes, let your teammates drive you in.
Ray Fuentes' hot spring continues. Here is Cesar Puello. Another guy having an impressive spring. Puello signed with the D-backs in January. 17 big league games last year with Anaheim and Tampa Bay. Puello sends this one pretty deep right center field. Fuentes can jog on in, and it's 4-1 Diamondbacks. RBI for Cesar Puello.
Little instant offense right there. Leadoff triple followed by a deep sacrifice fly to right field. A little extra cushion for the Diamondbacks.
Gally Cribbs, the shortstop. Hasn't had a lot of chances this spring, but he's impressed so far. 5 for 8. That's tap foul toward first base. Gally Cribbs out of Sugar Land, Texas. Split last year between High A Visalia, Double A Jackson. 110 games between those two stops, and under 200. Swing and a miss, and he strikes out. 2 down. That'll bring up Jamie Westbrook, who will bat for Alex Avila, the DH.
Jamie Westbrook.
And Jamie Westbrook with a pretty aggressive hack right there. He's going to let it fly. Getting an opportunity to play in a big league game here. Getting in the bat in the bottom of the 8th inning. Don't get cheated.
Cloud cover overhead, a little thicker right now, so the lights are on at Salt River Fields. Joey Crable warming up at the Diamondback bullpen. Looks like he'll get the 9th. Two balls and 1 strike on Jamie Westbrook. Another guy who likes to keep his hands down low. We see more and more of that these days in the era of the launch angle. Guys seem to think that lower hands will help them get more lift on that ball.
Well, it only stands to reason. If you start with your hands a little bit lower, your swing path is going to have somewhat of an upward plane as it gets into the hitting zone, and that's what guys are looking for, get that ball in the air.
This is popped straight up in the air. Rocky Gale gives it a look. And here comes Joe from first base. Diamondbacks tack on a run. We hit the 9th. They lead the Dodgers 4-1. Lead the Dodgers 4-1. Another good spring training outing for Matt Cook, the right-hander. 3 scoreless innings in his start. Jake Lamb has the big hit in the ball game, a 2-run double, part of a 3-run D-backs third. Cody Bellinger, a solo homer, his second this spring, the only run for LA. And on to work the 9th inning, the right-hander Joey Crable. He averaged just over a dozen strikeouts for every 9 innings pitched in the D-backs minor league system last year. 76 strikeouts. In just under 57 innings of work. I love it when back-to-back number 91s come up to lead off the inning. Fortunately, there are names on the back of one of the 91, so we know that this is the catcher, Rocky Gale. The other 91 is on deck. That is infielder first baseman Connor Joe. Rocky Gale drops one in front of Hazelbaker in left field, the leadoff single. I'll tell you what, if you can accurately score one of these games, you can do almost anything. Here is Connor Joe. Joey Crable spent most of last year with the D-backs AA team, the Jackson Generals in the Southern League. 55 innings there, 74 strikeouts, all in relief. He had a couple of appearances with AAA Reno as well. And he's got a good minor league track record with some very encouraging strikeout numbers. 25-year-old right-hander. He is from Seminole, Florida. 12th round pick out of high school there by the Angels in the 2011 draft. D-backs got him at midseason in 2014. Part of the deal that sent Joe Thatcher and Tony Campana to the Angels 4 years ago.
We see so many pitchers nowadays. Jake Arrieta jumps to mind immediately that throw across their body. And for a right-handed pitcher, that would mean rather than step in a direct line toward home plate, you step to the third base side of the mound and throw back across your body. This is exactly the opposite right here by Crable. He throws from an open position. Watch that left foot lands way on the first base side of the rubber as he delivers that ball to home plate. Can't argue with the results he's had up to this point in the minor leagues, but it's a little odd to see a guy fly open like that and still have the strikeout numbers that he does.
Behind 3 balls and 1 strike on Connor Joe. Missed inside. First 2 have reached in the LA ninth. Romer Quadrado, the right fielder, will be the hitter for LA. And there's another mound visit. You'll take a look at Jeff Nelson here. And according to our count, that is 6, and that is all you're allowed. So he's going to inform Torey Lovullo right now. You're done in terms of the mound visits. He reminds catcher Josh Tolley of that right there. So now Nelson, we guess we'll look over toward the D-backs dugout. There's Torey. That's it.
Yeah, this is what has to change.
It just started. We're only like 2 weeks into this.
I understand that, but it's clear today. And I'm not blaming this on Jeff Nelson. He's doing what he's supposed to do as the home plate umpire and crew chief. But, you know, once again, the catcher was back behind home plate. The batter was in the box. The pitcher was on the mound, and we were waiting for administrative duties to get taken care of. That will get straightened out as we move forward. I have no doubts.
He did seem to be writing down a lot of information.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what you'd be writing. Maybe he needs the whole detailed situation so there's no confusion. But I think being overly demonstrative at this point with the new rule is probably a good thing. But you're right. It would be nice to
agree with that.
Have it go a little quicker. This is out to Cuello in right field. Everybody holds up on the bases, gets it back in there quickly. 1 out.
Fortunately, that ball was hit so hard on a line right at Puello out there in right field. Neither base runner had an opportunity to get back to the bag and tag up.
Now batting for Kyle Farmer. This is Connor Heddy for the Dodgers. Minor league addition. Made the trip over from Camelback Ranch in Glendale.
That's a big helmet.
Well, his name is Heddy.
I guess.
People, no. I guess when he makes a good play, makes a Heddy play out there.
Yeah, sure. kinds of good stuff.
It always looks extra big when they have the dual flaps.
Yeah, the guys that come up from minor league camp to fill out a roster late in spring training, they bring their equipment with them, and guys that play in the minor leagues have to wear double flap helmets.
Yeah, in his defense, it's a little bit of a fashion requirement that he's got to fulfill. He looks like a Little League paper boy under that thing, though, doesn't he?
I tell you what, to get an opportunity to play in a big league game as a minor league player, you'd go up there with a bucket on your head. Doesn't matter.
There was Al Bucket Foot Simmons. Crable having trouble here throwing strikes. Scoreboard says 2-1. I think it's 3-0. That's what we have in the truck. High in the air, right center. Puello out there with Fuentes. Fuentes calls him off. 2 down. Logan Landon, the center fielder now. Yeah, the guys from minor league camp, no names on the back, and you get the full dual flap helmet.
That's all right, though. Like I said, he'll be on the phone on that bus ride back to Glendale after the ball game, calling mom and dad, calling his girlfriend or his wife or his significant other, calling all his buddies. Hey, I got in the game today. Well, the closest I ever got as a minor league catcher was warming up a pitcher on an off day. They had a big league pitcher that needed to throw a side session, and they dragged me over there, and I got to catch a big league pitcher. And as soon as I got done, I went to the phone, not the cell phone, the old rotary dial up to call everybody I knew. I just caught a big league pitcher.
Is that one where you have to pick up the phone and, like on the Andy Griffith show, and talk to the operator? Hello, Laverne, get me.
No, these were just actually rotary dial phones, and everybody had a number. There wasn't a party line or anything like that.
Just put in a long distance call over to Mount Pilot. That's out of play. D-backs, if they can hang on, will improve to 12-9 in Cactus League play. And they will have won 9 of 11. D-backs over those last 11 games, including today, have outscored their opponents 66-34.
Yeah, and that's really good to see. The offense had kind of sputtered a little bit there for a while. But a lot of guys starting to swing it much better.
Arnie Harriman at third, nice and smooth. Crable strands 2, and the Diamondbacks get the 4-1 win. So they have now won 9 of their last 11 Cactus League games. Torrelovello's club 12-9 on the spring, and they'll be back at it here tomorrow against the Padres. A 1-10 start with Ryan Atkinson on the mound.
And once again, a National League West opponent. Might as well get comfortable, take your notes, get ready for the regular season.
Good day at the plate for Jake Lamb. A walk and a 2-run double. A very good appearance. Another one from the right-hander Matt Cook, who worked 3 scoreless innings in his start. So a lot to like here. A 4-1 win over the Dodgers. You'll take that every time. A.J. Pollock got it started, an RBI ground out. And then Lamb delivered the 2-run double down the right field line. For Brandon Webb and my partner Bob Brenly, all of us here at Fox Sports Arizona, I'm Steve Berthiaume. Thanks for watching D-backs baseball. 4-1 your final, and we'll see you down the road here from Scottsdale. So long, everybody.